Hey, everybody, welcome to Locked On Lakers on YouTube. Brian Kamenetsky and Andy Kamenetsky getting ready for Game 5. One of the things that I think is so interesting, we kind of talked about this a little bit on today's episode of the Locked On Lakers podcast, Andy, is the magnitude of what LeBron is up against. It's not the Lakers can't win. They're, I think, 19-7 or whatever it is, 19-17 without Davis and with LeBron, whatever it is. But it's hard. Like, what's in front of him is really hard. And when you start to think about the great achievements that LeBron James has had over the course of his playoff career, one of the things that excites me about Game 5 is the opportunity to see him do something historic like he's done throughout his career. If he can help the Lakers get through Game 5, get through this series, where would this kind of rank? Where would this land in the like incredible pantheon of LeBron James achievements for you?
I mean, I think it definitely would be up there because you'd be taking into account where the Lakers stand in this series in the first round, and just in trying to defend that championship. This series against Phoenix, other than maybe Denver, this is the best team that they faced the entire time on the way to that championship last season. So that in and of itself would reflect the magnitude. He would be doing it without Anthony Davis. So, you're robbed of the next best player that you have and a guy that at his best is a top 5 talent. And also taking into account LeBron would be doing this, against the backdrop of his own health issues and wherever his ankle is, he's looked good during this series. And at times he's looked explosive, but he has not looked LeBron explosive over the course of 40.
No, he has not been playoff LeBron. This is more like savvy old guy on the YMCA court.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but
he's using a lot of his tricks and a lot of his know-how to get by.
He is, and he's also using a lot of strength, and he's using a lot of athleticism as well. It's just not at the level that we're used to with him.
Right.
I think it would be an achievement somewhere along the lines of in 2015 when the Cavaliers ultimately didn't beat the Warriors. That was the first of the Steph, Clay, Draymond titles.
Right.
But LeBron was competing without Kyrie and without Kevin Love and basically willed that team into a series. Like it kind of reminds me of what he's doing there. Or maybe like this was en route to ultimately LeBron also not winning a championship in 2007, the first time he went to the finals. But that Eastern Conference series against Detroit, where he scored 25 straight points.
Yes.
I remember I was in Vegas with some friends during that. And I remember all of us at the time thinking this might be the most impressive single performance by an athlete we'd ever seen. Or certainly in recent memory. It was unbelievable. Because it was him.
It was him.
Versus
it was him by himself. And I think that
that team had no business being in the finals in the first place.
None. Go back and look at that roster. I mean, so I agree with you. I think 2016 will be his greatest postseason achievement and what he did in that series against Golden State. Yeah, the chase down block and all that. But I really honestly think that whole Warriors versus Cavs run is really kind of encapsulates his greatness in a way that I'm not sure anything's really going to be able to pass. But I agree with you. I think getting through this series, particularly if it means the Lakers can get through another one and maybe get to the conference finals, get to the finals again, that'll be completely on his back at age 36 with a bad ankle. And it says something about him that part of what is so intriguing about Game 5 is the possibility that something genuinely historic could happen.
Really quick, it's also a reminder that for all of LeBron's incredible greatness, and he is arguably the greatest player ever, he's arguably the most talented player ever, he is somewhere in these smallest handfuls of players who would actually be in that conversation. He's actually spent a decent amount of time in his career as the underdog. Not all of it, but
yeah,
some.
no,
And
that's
I think,
yeah, and
I think that gets forgotten about a lot.
It's important, yeah.
Between his gifts, just the natural gifts that he has, all the work that he put into, making those gifts as powerful as possible, and what ended up happening with the Heatles, and the machinations that led to him going to the Lakers and then getting Anthony Davis on that team. It's easy to forget LeBron has been the underdog a lot of times over the course of his career. And if the Lakers are able to pull out this game, if they're able to pull out this series, it will remind me a lot of those moments where LeBron has actually been the
certainly
underdog.
They are the underdog now, as this series with Phoenix concludes. All right, so make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and also to Locked On Lakers on YouTube for all kinds of YouTube exclusive web only content that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Like this.
We'll see it like this, for example. And we'll see you guys next time.